Once DBU could have been a debate topic for Florida State fans, but not in recent years. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, talking Seminoles with Jason Parker. We do so every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So you got to join us for the live stream where you can bring your comments and questions directly to us and join in the live chat room. That's the best in college football. But for right now, we're talking secondary, Jason, and the standard is high throughout this legacy of Florida State football. But what's it look like with one of Stanford Samuels? I'm going back to his father, but Stanford Samuels obviously showing out, quote unquote, at the NFL Combine last week.
Yeah, I don't even think he made it to Indianapolis. At least he didn't bring his talent with him. His talent might have stayed in Tallahassee and didn't get on the plane there. It's funny when you look at, and FSU is the DBU. I'm sorry, I know Florida likes to talk about it, LSU likes to talk about it, but over their history,
Ohio State.
I'm sorry, Deion Sanders, Leroy Butler, Terrell Buckley, even recently, guys, what's his name? Oh, yeah, LaMarcus Joyner, arguably one of the best defensive backs of the last decade. Florida State over the history is the DBU. Over the last 4 seasons, it has been anything but DBU. And you can blame Charles Kelly, you can blame Jimbo Fisher, you can blame Willie Taggart, you can blame Harlan Burnett. The problem is they're all guilty of it. I think that the potential is there. And I think that's one of the big things we've talked about it in various different previews here. The potential is there. Stanford Samuels did not live up to the hype. We've talked about previously the hype of are you going to play like your dad? Are you going to play like guys that your dad played with and whatnot? And he was a great prep star down here in South Florida and just never lived up to it once he got to Tallahassee. But now that he's going to be gone, the question is going to be who is going to step up to possibly take over. FSU did get struck with a little bit of a blow in the fact that Akeem Dent, who was one of the more heralded recruits before last year's class, did great in the spring ball, kind of stepped back a little bit during the fall. He will not be taking part in spring football, dealing with an injury there. So it does open up a door to see who else can show up. The big name, obviously, who's going to take the leadership role of that unit is another son of a former NFL player in Asante Samuel Jr., obviously his dad, Super Bowl winner for the Patriots. He's from down here in Broward County. He's going to be the guy who, once again, he's a junior. This is the time for him to shine. He needs to not be like Stanford Samuel in the sense of a lot of talk, no action. This is where we need to see from him as far as the defensive back, as far as the cornerback unit. In the safety role, Hassan Nasruddin is another guy who went down with an injury, but when healthy is arguably one of the best defensive backs in the entire country. I know that's a bold statement to make from a team that went 5-7 and 6-7 the last 2 seasons. But when he plays well, he has that potential. So this is going to be another chance of if Florida State's secondary can play up to what we expect from them and what we know they are capable of, they are great. If they are going to play like what we have seen on the field over the last 2 seasons, Florida State's still going to be in some serious trouble.
With currently no NBA, NHL, or Major League Baseball, you might think there's nothing to bet on. Well, you'd be wrong. BetOnline still has hundreds of places to wager, from their online casino to poker and blackjack, all open 24 hours a day and all online. Sports aren't totally done. There's still mixed martial arts, golf, esports, XFL, and many more. And hey, what about American Idol? The elections, the spelling bee, and even the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. Be sure to use promo code CLNS50. That's CLNS50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your very first deposit. BetOnline, your full access wagering solution. Well, as you mentioned, Nasruddin, 101 total tackles, so he was all over the field, and when he plays at his best, I don't think it's a stretch to say that he can be one of the best in the country. 2 picks for him, 3 passes defensed, and a couple sacks. And then there's a ton of names that could get some playing time in this secondary. And then the other thing, Jason, besides the names, your thoughts on whether if this group plays up to expectation and not a ridiculous ceiling that they all come through, but what level of play do we expect out of the secondary in rating it against competitors in the ACC?
Well, Marcus Woodson, who's the new defensive back coach for Florida State under head coach Mike Norvell, he's got his work cut out for him in the sense that he's got plenty of guys to choose from to decide who are the 4 he wants to play. We talked about it before in names we mentioned like Asante Samuel, like Nasruddin. You have a guy, Lars-Woodbey, who also went down with injury, missed most of last season after being injured in the Louisville game. He's another guy who, when he is healthy, is arguably one of the best defensive backs in the country. Has the potential.
Yeah, with a huge recruit.
Oh, yeah, huge recruit out of the California area. He has that potential. So that's going to be the question. And, you could just literally run through the names. You got guys like Carlos Becker. Travis Jay is another guy who came as a heralded recruit but didn't do anything. Obviously, he was dealing with academic issue out of his high school. Guys like Cyrus Fagan, guys like Isaiah Bolden. These are guys who came in, and they've recruited well. Give Willie Taggart credit. He recruited well in the defensive back room, but they still have not proven it yet. So that's going to be the question for Woodson, for Norvell, for Adam Fuller, defensive coordinator. Can they get what we know is in there? The talent is in there. Now it's going to be a question of what can we get out of there? What can we get to get that talent to show up on the field? If that talent does show up, FSU will just be fine. If it's just going to be a cluster of, hey, you 4 guys go play the positions, that's the problem. And that's been the problem of late, is it's just been, okay, not just with defensive back, but with almost FSU as a whole. Hey, we've got all this talent, just go out and play. Let's just get 11 guys on the field, sometimes 10 guys. Let's get 11 guys, though, on the field for most plays. We'll see what happens. That can't happen. There needs to be some structure with that lineup. So if there's 4 guys who can shine, I think we'll just be fine. But that's going to be what the spring is. Can we find these 4 guys? Who are going to be the 4 guys you trust to go out there for the most part and get the job done?
The 10 on 11 concept might have worked well in 2013. That would have been an interesting experiment to see Florida State play with 10 in the 2013 season, that legendary team versus the rest of the ACC.
It would have almost been fair to other teams because it would have given them a shot. Teams like Syracuse, teams like Nevada in the first month of the season, Pittsburgh in the opener, hell, even Florida and Miami. It might have given them a shot to get within 20 points during that season. But yeah, you know what? Let's try that. Let's go back in our time. Let's go back in our time machines and do 10 on 11. I still think Florida State goes undefeated and wins the title.
With currently no NBA, NHL, or Major League Baseball, you might think there's nothing to bet on. Well, you'd be wrong. BetOnline still has hundreds of places to wager, from their online casino to poker and blackjack, all open 24 hours a day and all online. Sports aren't totally done. There's still mixed martial arts, golf, esports, XFL, and many more. And hey, what about American Idol? The elections, the spelling bee, and even the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. Be sure to use promo code CLNS50, that's CLNS50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your very first deposit. BetOnline, your full access wagering solution.